Hello ELM 258 students. Welcome to another Automation Studio tutorial. In this one we're going to build on the last activity, which was to create a pneumatic cylinder that moves with a PLC program controlling it. In this one we're going to do a process where we use actually three actuators and have them move in sequence. Sequential programming is Many automated processes are a sequence of events of actuators moving in a particular order. In the case of the HAS 200, those actuators are mostly pneumatic. So for example, there are two actuators on the HAS 200, actuators D and F, and they work together to move the vacuum cup assembly down and then out to pick up a box. So actuator D, you can see here on the left, is in its retracted position, and the sensor D0 is active. And actuator F is also retracted, and its sensor F0 is active. Then when the process starts, D moves down, the D1 sensor becomes active, and then the PLC tells F to move out. And they have to happen in that order in order not to have collisions. So the PLC actually gives a command to open a solenoid valve that allows air to flow into actuator D, which makes it move down. Then it waits for confirmation from the sensor before telling actuator F to move out. So let's take a look at the PLC program. Now the program on the HAS 200 is very in-depth and very complex, but I've chopped out a few pieces of it just to illustrate this one point. What you see here is there are bits that are associated with various steps in the program. Right now, this rung, if it's on step 12, that thing that says step 12 is true. And what that does is it turns on D plus, which is the output that causes D to extend downward. Once it extends downward, the next line is waiting for the sensor D1, which senses that downward movement, before it goes to the next step, which is step 13. On the next page, we see that in step 13, which is here, when that goes true, it's going to turn on the actuator F. It's going to make the actuator F extend. Then once actuator F extends, you see there's the step 13 is waiting for that F to go true, F1, the sensor. Once that happens, it goes to step 14. And then there's more steps after that. There's a whole, dozens of steps in the process. But I just wanted to show you those two to give you an idea of what we're going to be doing in the Automation Studio simulation. So here's the idea. We're going to start with the result from Virtual Lab 4, where we have a cylinder with some flow control and a valve that is actuated by solenoids to either extend or retract the cylinder. And we also have magnetic sensors to sense the movement. But what we're going to do is create three cylinders A, B, and C, identical, and we're going to have them move in sequence. And so we want this to work so that we're going to hit a start button, and A will extend, and once it's extended, sensor A1 is going to then trigger B to extend. Then sensor B1 is going to trigger cylinder C to extend. Then once C is extended, its C1 sensor is going to trigger that to retract, C to retract, and then C0 will trigger B to retract, and B0 will trigger A to retract. So that's the basic idea. So I'm going to start this off, and we have a few steps we're going to develop here. I'm going to write a very simple program initially that will actually not work, and then we're going to talk about why it doesn't work and how to properly set it up so that it does the sequence. So I'm going to jump over to Automation Studio. So you should have something that looks like this from Virtual Lab 4, and I'm going to use a lot of the things here and then make some duplicates. So before I do anything, I'm going to save the project under a new name. I'll just call it Virtual Lab 05 Demo. And I'm going to copy this whole assembly with the cylinder and put it underneath where the PLC is. So I really have to kind of consolidate where things are here. All right, I'm going to be only using one push button. It's going to be a start push button, and the rest of the inputs are going to be the sensors. So I'm just going to get rid of the retract button. I'm also going to tuck this in as tight as I can, and might as well change the name of it to start while I'm at it. And then I can bring this down as close as I can. Oh, it didn't work very well. I'll just redraw that. Okay. So all my inputs are going to go up here. And then on the output side, I'm just going to delete these and just redraw these. And I'm going to bring these as close as I can. So there's the A plus and the A minus solenoids. I'm going to have two more. I'll have cylinder A, cylinder B, and cylinder C. So I'm going to move these up a little bit. Maybe that's about as close as I can get them, I think. And I'm going to first make sure I can get all these solenoids in here. So let's copy these two. And then two more. I'm going to change the name of them to, these will be B plus and B minus and C plus and C minus, but I just want to make sure I have enough room to wire these. Okay, those are my 6 solenoids, and just connect the ground while I'm here. Okay, then I'm going to move this up. Whoops, okay, I don't want to get any of this stuff, so let's just move this one over for now. Get it out of the way. And I just want to move the PLC input and output modules closer together so they don't take up more room than necessary. Okay, now I'm going to move this whole assembly down underneath the whole thing. So we want to be able to, eventually we want to be able to see everything while it's working. Now I can see the labels from the sensors are bumping into the other drawings. I'm just going to also tuck those down closer. All right, now I can move this whole thing up a little bit. I can make sure I select all of it. That's good. So, when I'm running this, I want to be able to see the PLC, the buttons, the sensors, and all of the solenoid. First thing I'm going to do is just duplicate this and then edit it. So I'm actually just doing a Control C, Control V to copy and paste. Now the only thing I need to do is make sure that the cylinders, when they extend, they don't bump into the one next to it. So I think that's far enough. And then we'll do one more copy. So I'm going to change this to cylinder B and all the associated labels to match. So let's go down here. We'll change the name to cylinder B. And the sensors, this one's going to be B0. This one's going to be B1. Now, we have to actually change the solenoids first. The solenoids in the electrical diagram first before we can link this to them. So I'm going to double click this solenoid. This is going to be now B plus. And this will be B minus. You kind of have to click to the right of the word. If you click the label, it brings up the label specs, and I want to see the component specs instead. So I'm just going to change these while I'm here. This is going to be C plus and C minus. Okay, now I can link the solenoid down here. So I just double click the valve, and then you can click each of the two solenoids. So this one is currently, okay, I have to click on variable assignment, and right now it's linked to A plus. I've got to delete that link, and then I should see B plus. Here it is. Change that to B plus. Then this one, whoops, I was already there. Okay, then delete the A minus link, change it to B minus. And I guess we'll do this one now while we're here. Double click this valve, B1, delete the A plus link and change it to C plus. And then V2, delete the A minus link and change to C minus. Okay, so the B valve is all set and the B sensors. Now I just have to change, I'll change this label to cylinder C. I have to go to data to see the component name. And now I have to change these two sensors to C0 and C1. Okay, now I also noticed that the valves, they should be labeled uppercase A, B, and C, and for some reason they're all labeled C, so I'm just going to go in there and click on the valve data. Yeah, I'm just going to change that to A. Change this one to B. Those actually don't have any functional purpose. They just are for our own labeling. All right, we've got our 3 cylinders and associated sensors and valves all set. Now we have to create the electrical equivalent of these magnetic sensors. So if we go down here to electrical control IEC and go into sensor switches, we've got the normally open proximity switch. So we're going to put that up there and double click it, and we're just going to assign this to A0. So under variable assignment, we just double click the A0, which is there because we already labeled it down here. All right, that's all set. Now I want to get that label so that it's vertical and it's tucked in. So I'm going to do transformation, rotate left, and tuck it into the thing. Maybe I'll tuck this one in too, a little closer. And I'm just going to copy this. and we just need a total of 6 of them. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need one more. And I just need to change the links on those. So this one, delete link, and this is going to be A1. The next one, this is going to be B0. Whoops, I missed one. Hold on. Okay. I meant to do this one. So this is going to be, oh, I got the one next to it. Okay, let's do this again. This one is going to be B0. This one's going to be B1. And these are going to be C0 and C1.